So finding your market and figuring out where they exist online, which is actually really easy to do. The internet is confusing to a lot of people, right? Most people look at the internet and go, huh. It's kind of like when you look at Twitter for the first time. Twitter makes a terrible first impression, right? Twitter looks like one big mess, doesn't it? You're like, there's a million different conversations. And you know, I frankly had the same reaction. Our internet social marketing expert who works for me, 2.5 years ago, she came to me and she said, Penny, I have 2 words for you, microblogging. And I thought, oh dear God, right? I'm thinking, I've just mastered blogging, right? Now I have to she says, listen, Twitter, trust me, Twitter is gonna be huge. Let me tell you something. If this woman were predict anything she predicts, actually, and she's not like psychic or woo or anything like that, absolutely comes true. If she were to tell me tomorrow that the micro mini were going to come back, I'd go out and buy 20 of them. I'm telling you. So she comes to me and she says, Twitter's going to be huge. I'm like, ugh, you know, I roll my eyes. I went kicking and screaming into Twitter. The top 5 places that we now get traffic on our site, Twitter. But I've identified the audience and I've isolated the audience. Think of the internet as one big networking meeting, okay? It is one big networking session. You walk into a room of 1 million people. Where are you going to start? Where are you going to start? You're going to start with your audience. You would never walk up to a group of, let's say, contractors and try and sell them your scrapbooking book, unless they were scrapbookers, right? So the same thing is true online. You want to go after your niche. You want to figure out where they are, and then you want to market to them. You should never lead your marketing with the spray and pray theory, where you spray a whole bunch of stuff up against the wall and you hope that some of it sticks, okay? So identify your market, isolate your market, and go after it. And when you go online, you're going to become very, very myopic. Now, one of the things that you can do, how many of you are sort of in the process of writing your book and haven't really, okay? One of the things that you can do now, and even for those of you who have already published, start to network with the people that are, you know, voices in your market. Start to identify the blogs. I recommend, and by the way, a lot of these, many of these URLs, most of them are all in the handouts that I gave you today too. There's a site called Technorati, which, oh, here's the pen. Technorati.com. Also, the Google blog search. I recommend, how many of you follow blogs in your market right now? Okay, good, good, good. I recommend that you start to follow the top 5 blogs in your market. Okay, just start with 5. See what they're talking about. Get a sense of their voice, what issues they address, things like that. And then, when you're ready, get in there and start talking to them. How do you do that? Go into the comment section of their blog and start a conversation. Marketing is all a conversation. That's all marketing is. When you stop marketing, the conversation stops. So 5 blogs, monitor them, start to comment. Here's what that's going to do. First off, you're showing up at the networking party, right? And you're showing up with helpful information. When you comment, you're not allowed to say, hi, I wrote a fabulous book. You have to, I actually have an article coming up. I blog for the Huffington Post under the publishing section. My next article, I think, is all about blog commenting. So if you follow the newsletter, there'll be a link to it. RE Marketing Expert newsletter. There'll be a link to, you know, breaking down how you get in and comment on blogs and what you say and all that other kind of stuff. But you're not allowed, you know, when you go to promote yourself online, lead with helpful information. You should never lead with your wallet, meaning that, hey, I have this great blah blah widget, book, whatever, and you're going to learn how to lose 35 pounds in a week or something like that. Okay? You've got to lead with helpful information. Not that that's not helpful to some people, but you've got to lead with helpful information. Give until it hurts. absolutely. Give away tips, give away advice, be willing to, you know, when I blog and when I Twitter, a lot of times I will link, just like Grail does, I'll link to other people's articles, other people's blogs, other people's content. You really want to become a funnel for your message. And I write both fiction and nonfiction, so I know for you fiction authors, this is a very challenging fence to straddle, okay? Right? Because you really, you know, readers of particular types of fiction, like thrillers, they want something different from you than if you were writing a romance novel, obviously. But you want to understand your audience and understand what they need and what they're looking for, okay? So the first piece is identify your audience, give them what they need. Become a consistent feeder of information online. How many of you have a website? Everyone, please? Okay. Your website is your 24/7 sales tool. Okay, by the way, we have a website evaluation that I did from the Wheatmark call that we did the other day, so hopefully we'll do that in just a minute. Hopefully they are here. They were able to make it here today. Your website is your 24/7 sales tool. It is your calling card. You should never cut your own hair or design your own website. Okay? There are inexpensive ways, inexpensive places to get your website designed. I heard the other day there was this radio advertisement about for $200 you can get it and design your own site. You know what? That's kind of like designing your own book cover or self-editing your book. We're just too close to our own stuff to be able to be objective. We had a guy who came to us for internet marketing after he had launched a campaign that got him, according to his calculations, 8,000 new eyes to his website every single day for a month. Okay? And he said to me, he said, Penny, I'm appalled. I don't think internet marketing works because I didn't sell anything off the site. It took me 20 minutes to figure out what he did from his website. That's why he didn't sell anything. So make sure that you have a site that is on message, on point, gives your readers what they want. Because if you're not doing that, it's sort of like sending people to a beautiful store and then locking the door, you know, advertising for that store and then locking the doors and not letting them in. Okay? This is why you don't want to design your own site, because we're just too close to our own message. Do you know what the #1 thing is that authors forget to put on their website? Good. Actually, contact information is #2. Yes. Their book. It's God is my witness. Authors don't, a lot of times we don't, it's hard to self-promote, isn't it? I mean, sometimes it's hard to sort of go, like, hey, right? I mean, I walked into Changing Hands today and I had some guy just run in and flag me down with my book, right? I was like, stalker. No, he couldn't attend, bless his heart, he couldn't attend the session, but he was buying it for his niece, I guess she lives in Florence or something like that. But he was just like, he was like, oh my God, I've been following you. I was embarrassed. I was like, can we just take this outside? I mean, you know, so we all suffer from that, right? I mean, it's like, it's really, really hard to get out there and self-promote and go, hey, look, I'm a rock star, okay? But you have to, you know what, I'll tell you something. If you're not going to sing your own praises, if you're not going to put this front and center, who else is going to do it for you? Now, maybe if you've hired a marketing firm, but I'll tell you something, if you don't love your book, how do you expect anybody else to, right? So book cover on your homepage, absolutely. And make sure that you have a call to action. Do you know that studies have shown that people spend on average of 1/50th of a second on your website before they decide to click off? Think about that. If you don't tell somebody what to do, you really do have to tell people what you want them to do. Don't make them guess. And by the way, your homepage should only do one thing. Your website can sell 50 different things if you want, but your homepage should only do one thing. Because otherwise what happens is you'll send people into what I call analysis paralysis. You'll confuse them and they'll go. They'll be like, huh, I don't really know what this person is doing with this site, so I'm going to leave now. And I'm going to go someplace where I do know what, I do know what they're doing. Also, please don't have music on your website. I'm sure you really like music. Please don't have it. Most of the time, how many of you have ever landed on a website and all of a sudden there's some drum or some noise or something, right? Right? That's called surf shock, okay? That's when we land on a site, we're like, blah, what is that?